Welcome to the H2O podcast, where two brothers, Kyle and Will, talk reef tanks, coral drama, random life stuff, and probably some stupid opinions along the way. You've officially been warned. Stay salty, stay opinionated. It's time for H2O.
Will, quit petting the freaking fish and get over here. It's not your dog. All right, now that you're back here and done playing with your animal, welcome back to the H2O podcast, where two brothers, Kyle and Will, have fun and talk reef stuff.
Yep, welcome to another one. And today you can see we're in a new background playing with some different fishies at the fish store.
Yep, this is our display. Just got new lights on it, so corals are looking a little better, but they're still a little stressed out.
Oh, but they look great.
Yes, they do.
I mean, let's talk about some of the weird things we're going to talk about today with lights and random houses. I mean, you drive by someone's house, you move into a new neighborhood, you're like, oh, they got blue lights. They must be reefers.
Never thought about that before.
But you know what I'm talking about. You come around the corner of my house, all you do is see blue windows everywhere. You're like, what the hell is this?
100%. Oh, reefer.
Yep.
Meth?
No, that's the red ones. Oh, that's reptile light. I'm sorry. My snakes use those.
Anyways, welcome back to the H2O podcast, episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about things reef tank people do that normal people would think you're absolutely insane for.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Having blue lights.
Petting fish.
Yeah, you pet your dog, I pet my fish.
No.
Why?
That's bad for the fish. Hurts their mucus coat, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, you're not supposed to pet your fish. We do not recommend you ever pet your fish. That's why I wasn't using my hand. I was using a little stick.
But Bubbles loves it.
Yes, she does. He, she, it, them, they. I don't know. Which one's right? They lay eggs. I don't know.
TBD. So today we're talking about things only reefers understand. Like the difference between a fish and a pet.
Yeah, so do you feed your dogs every day?
Every day. Once a day.
Do we feed our fish every day?
We should.
We should. How many times a day?
Once.
Oh, really? I mean, you look at 90% of these guys, like these tanks here, they're grazers. They graze all day long. So if you follow the directions on a fish food, it tells you 2 to 3 times a day.
Right.
Is that what we're supposed to do?
I don't know. I'm a big believer in fat and healthy, just like me.
I'm a believer in feeding once a day if you have good grazing fish and whatnot, because during the day they can graze on the algae, the natural consumption in the tank, and enjoy that, and then they get one nutritious feeding throughout the day.
Yeah, and then you can add your supplements, vitamins, minerals, and things like that to the food to make sure they're getting their sufficient needs.
Yep. And it also helps with nutrient reduction, and that way you're not overfeeding your fish and what they don't eat going straight into pure waste, because they're going to graze on that algae either way. They're going to enjoy that no matter what.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like you and I eating a potato chip. We don't need to poop all day long.
Fair. Well, you shouldn't. How about how much chemistry stuff do you have at your house?
Oh, God, enough to be a Breaking Bad episode.
I forgot his name. Right? Why?
I was trying to think of it, and I lost it, too.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, people don't understand the amount of testing and everything that goes on into a reef tank. So when you get a non-reefer coming over into your house and they just see this whole chemistry lab of everything.
Try to explain the different types of white powder that you have laying there. Kalkwasser, sodium bicarbonate, soda ash, calcium chloride, potassium salts. Peroxide salts. I mean, there's so many different ones out there.
It's just playing the fun game.
Yeah.
And then you add on top to your coral foods and all that nonsense.
Oh, yeah. There's so many. The additives. There's a lot. But do we need all of them?
No. I don't think we need all of them, but it sure does make it fun.
It does make it fun. I know that's one of the daunting things in this hobby, so I want to talk about that for a second, because a lot of people freak out that they need so many different chemicals and drugs and additives and stuff like that for their fish or their reef tank to succeed. Truly, you don't. The reason most of these people have 10s to 20s to 30s of these items is because they start here, someone told them to do something else, they go try that, they didn't like it, so they go back, then someone says to do this, they liked it, so they stay with it, but they still have their old chemicals. Or, oh crap, I got ick today, I needed medicine to treat for this.
and it's cheaper to buy in volume. So instead of buying a 250, you're going to buy 1,000.
Exactly. So, and I guarantee you that if you look, I would say, if I had to put a stat on it, let's say 60%. If I went to 60% of our customers' tanks and looked at their chemicals, half of them are expired.
Easily. But do they expire?
As a manufacturer, I'm going to tell you, yes. We put dates to save our liabilities, to save our rears. It's our recommendation to follow those. Do as you wish. I will say my personal experience when it comes to test kits, that's the one that if they expire, you cannot trust that reagent. Whether it's watered down, what's the reasoning for the reagent? Is the metallic packaging it's in leaching something? What's causing the difference in test? But I have noticed, even from a day after it expiring, there's a difference in test.
So talking testing, how often should you versus how often do you test your tanks?
Oh, geez, this goes into a huge conversation. Are we working in stabilizing the tank, or are we working on just general testing?
Tank at your house right now.
Oh, God. So I just set up that 52, and I'm in the middle of getting it stable, so I'm testing it every night. Literally, when I get off of work and I get to the house, the first thing I do is test the tank. That way, every night at 5 o'clock, the tank's getting tested. I'm right now worried about alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium, so I'm testing all three of them and adjusting my dosing pump based on that. The whole point of that is so I can get the tank completely stable, get it stable down to an exact number that I can then work on backing off that testing to a monthly testing regimen.
Now, back that up to the original purpose of this podcast. How do you explain that to a non-reefer?
Yeah, how do I explain to them that I can't go to the club tonight because I need to stay at home and test my tank, which is going to take an hour and a half. But, I mean, you look at this tank, there's probably $20,000, $30,000 worth of corals in here. That's right. I mean, you take your car to the mechanic, you take your dog to your vet. Instead of doing that, I'm doing it all at home now. So instead of spending that $500-$600 for a visit, I'm sitting here doing it at home for myself.
Right.
So, I mean, explaining it to friends that don't know, they're like, you're just an idiot. You're a nerd. Whatever, geek. Especially when I wear my glasses there. Whatever, geek.
What about cost reactions from friends and family? I know Alyssa's not big into it. She's starting to get into it, though.
She enjoys it.
But how do you explain to her the $400 fish you brought home? Or the $900 coral you came back from the trade show with?
So I have a different way I do it with my wife than I would recommend anybody else. She doesn't know anything about this hobby at all. She doesn't care to either. So I go into a fish store when we're traveling. I said, hey, what do you like? She tells me, I'm like, all right, well, here's what you could pick out of what you liked. And then I'll let her pick it. If she thinks it's too expensive, we don't get it. If she thinks it's good, we get it.
What about the stuff you bring home when she's not with you? How do you navigate that?
I love my vendors. That's all I'm going to say. I don't. There's too many people that watch this to answer that. To her, there's trade-offs. She doesn't know that it's actually cash, guys. She thinks it's product trades and things like that because of quantum and the products. But, yeah.
Fair. I'm fortunate or unfortunate that I don't have to play that game.
You don't have to play that game. You just have to explain it to Jables.
As long as my dog's got food, I'm happy at home.
But you don't even have to take it home. So that's the fortunate part. Or is it not the fortunate?
I think it's fortunate. Anytime I get the itch to play in a tank, I come in here.
Yeah, that makes life a lot easier. So what's your time commitment to here? Since you come in here and the next one is explaining the time commitment that it takes to your wife or your kids that, hey, we can't go play basketball this weekend because I got to clean tanks.
I spend way too much time here. I don't know if you could say too much time because I'm still fighting issues. But I don't know. I feel like it's different with a business than it is with a home tank.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't take you out tonight. I got to go clean a protein skimmer.
I got to go clean the fish store.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and I love it.
So you talk about going on a date then. What is something that you do that your date would think is crazy?
Everything. There's a reason I'm still single.
Well, yes. Okay, let's talk about aquarium-wise. Come on. Oh, I think we just got you hooked up with somebody.
I don't know. Most of the time, I just kind of coerce people to come to play with my stingrays.
Come pet my snake.
No. Stingrays. Mom would kill me if I had a snake in here.
Yeah, she doesn't go to my house that often.
No, I don't know. It's hard to find time when having to deal with everything that I have to deal with.
Yeah. No, I get that.
What's something you do that a normal person would think is absolutely crazy? Reef talking.
Pull an animal out of a tank and scrub it with a toothbrush and dip it in peroxide.
What are you scrubbing with a toothbrush?
Well,
Or
anytime
you're
I
talking
get...
corals. God bless it. I'm sitting here thinking you're pulling a fish out going,
You
let me brush
said
your
reef.
teeth.
You said reef, so I went coral. I'm sorry. It was we're doing it with these. I mean, like, here, prime example, that torch we had, which we just now got him onto this guy. That's why he's not looking good. He just got dipped in peroxide salts to help with the Philly eating flatworms. But, like, when we took that torch out, we dipped it in the reef dip, and you had all these worms come out of it.
Right.
Why would you get the worms out of your tank? Is it little live things in your tank good?
Not always.
Well, to the normal people, they're like, oh, it's living. It's doing good.
Let's talk about the bobbit worm we encountered.
Oh, jeez.
Customer hired me at the time to come out and move their fish tank. And, well, we'll get there. We'll get to that. It was a little, I think it was a 32 BioCube.
Yep.
And he was like, Will came out and helped me move it. And we were walking around, packing everything up. And while we were just kind of talking with the customer, it ended up, well, I can't really keep fish alive. I keep buying a couple and they'll just slowly disappear one day after another. And within about 30 minutes, I mean, it's a BioCube. It's not that hard to move around. We were taking the rock apart, and then all of a sudden, boom. I mean, I don't even know how big that bobbit worm was.
I know in the tank, it was about as thick as a jumbo pencil.
Yeah.
And it was about 8 to 12 inches long.
Yeah.
When we pulled it out, we just kept pulling.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then it broke in half.
Yep.
That's when I learned that you can cut them into 100 pieces, and they're still alive.
Yep.
Fortunate for him, we found it, and we were able to get all of it out, set the BioCube back up, and he kept fish again.
Yep. That was very interesting. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a bobbit worm, but the movie Tremors, if you go watch Tremors 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of them look like a bobbit worm coming out of the earth and eating the people. That's exactly what this thing freaking looked like.
Terrifying.
It is the movie Tremors, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever seen any other wild creatures that you just could not explain to somebody?
Zoa spiders.
Those spiders are gnarly.
Zoa spiders are freaking cool. Polyclads. And then
Acro spiders.
acro spiders. You Philly eating flatworms.
Those are beautiful.
They're beautiful. No. The beautiful ones is Zoa eating nudibranch.
Yes.
That thing is drop dead gorgeous.
Yes.
What about my favorite in here? What keeps our sand so clean? The tiger tail cucumbers.
But those are good for you.
Yeah, but they're so freaking weird.
They're fugly.
They're freaking fugly, and they eat sand and poop out those little bitty
Erasers.
magic erasers that we used to change when we were kids. I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
freaking cool.
But how do you explain all of these beautiful things that are horrifying for your tank, and you're trying to kill them to somebody who doesn't understand that?
I don't understand why they're not in the hobby, so who cares?
Touche.
I don't spend too much time on that one. How many times have you come home from the bowling alley after you get a ride home or take an Uber home drunk and you sit in front of the fish tank, or take an Uber over to the store and sit in front of the tank drunk staring at it?
I think the better question is, how many times have I turned the bench around and just stared here and sipped bourbon?
Yep. Or at the same time, have you ever wiped out a tank doing something stupid drunk?
I have not, but I've got several customer stories that say otherwise.
I've never done it. I had the aloe vera issue one time, but I've never done it intoxicated.
I'm smart enough to know when I'm intoxicated, don't pour stuff into the tank.
Yeah.
No matter what you think you see, if it's an issue, the issue will be there tomorrow. You deal with it then.
Or call a sober friend to come double check you. Don't just be dumb and dump stuff in your tank.
Because then you play the fighting game.
Yep.
But no, like, I will argue to the day that I am the best stocked fish store potentially in the country. And I'm not even talking coral, fish, dry goods, livestock, period. I'm talking bourbon. And my favorite thing to do at night when all the lights are off, stores closed, spin these chairs around, look at this tank. We put it in a little party mode.
Yep.
And just sip bourbon.
Yeah.
It's
Put the orange glasses on, sit back and relax.
It's majestical.
Yeah, this tank is absolutely beautiful, and we're going to get a really good video and show it.
Yes.
I'm going to get a good video of it today.
But, like, all right, so invite a friend over and do that and explain to them what's so beautiful about it. You and I can sit here and look at this tank for 4 hours. After about 10 minutes, they're like, okay, nothing's happening.
Yeah, they do get a little boring, and then you just start, you give them the orange glasses. You got to give them the orange glasses.
Yep.
After about the 10-minute mark of looking at it, or 5-minute mark, or right before they're about to walk away, you hand them the orange glasses, and then you say, hey, look.
We need to get H2O podcast glasses.
Yeah, we can. We need to do that. I got someone I can reach out to. But turn the glasses on them and then start showing them all the different colors. Ask them if they ever kissed a rainbow or seen a rainbow up front, up close.
I've eaten Skittles.
Then you can show them all the different colors that's in here. It's freaking amazing.
What about vacation anxiety?
Luckily for me, I don't have to worry about it. My entire family's in the hobby. So my sister, even though she hates this industry, she knows how to take care of it. So I put all my stuff in little bitty Jello cups.
Let's specify. She knows how to maintain it. I want to say take care of it.
She knows how to maintain. She knows how to feed my fish if I leave for a week.
Yes.
We'll put it that way. Mainly because I make it stupid simple for her. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys. If you guys are going on a vacation, get the condiment cups that you can get from Walmart for like ketchup, mustard, and stuff like that. Take them, mix up your frozen food and your pellets or anything that you're going to leave out. Put them in that container, put it in the freezer, put your day of the week on it. That is what they give your fish tank once a day while you're gone. Makes life stupid simple for you. You don't have to worry about them going, oh, how much is a pinch? A pinch is this. And they end up dumping half a handful in there. You give them the exact amount they need. They take care of it. You put all the supplements, vitamins, daily dosing, all that stuff in the one container. Boom, it's done.
Those are called ramekins, by the way.
Condiment cups. On the thing it says condiment cup.
I thought it always said Jello shots.
I was trying to keep this PG. I was trying to keep this PG.
Hey, we're back.
There we go.
So we've talked about the display a few times. So here's a little glimpse of it. Obviously, it's not a great full shot, but...
And it's weird the way I have to do this because I have to look at the camera or at the computer screen to see what the camera's doing because the camera screen's blacked out.
Where's Wilbur?
Wilbur just ran off this way. Wilbur's in the back. That is our golden Tahitian hawkfish. Remind you guys, this tank has gone through a lot lately. Needless to say, we went through quite a few high-end named brand lights that I don't want to say a name to. That has cost us to have some very bad lighting issues in this tank.
Yeah.
The last 18 months, truly.
We're finally bouncing back from it. A big shout out on that for getting rid of the canopy. And we built a shelf over it to hang the new lights from. Pretty sure the canopy was a lot of our issues.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this weed right here. Why are we talking about a living animal that's a weed in a tank?
That's not a weed. That's not a weed. Most people love those things.
I know, the firework clothes are some of people's favorite corals, but in our tank, it's taken over 3/4 of it.
Well, honestly, the wild thing about our tank is I can't frag it.
We can frag that one.
You're right. We can't frag
We
the
can't
other
frag
ones.
this one.
So, yeah. Why do we call it a weed? Because it overgrows everything?
Yeah, because nothing could grow in it. I mean, you can see it overtaking the Godzilla bounces over there. We had to move the Frankensteins away. It's overgrowing the Dragon Soul Fabi over there. It's already shrunk it up to only 2 heads.
But they're so pretty.
They are. They're so movie. They're so pretty. Ugh. Ugh.
So we were just checking out the display. How many times, how long did it take you to build that rock formation? How many times? And we're not talking about the fact that we're about to redo it. That would be a good thing. If y'all want to see us redo the rockscape on this, we're getting ready to frag out a bunch of the stuff on it. A lot of the SPS. And we want to I don't know if we're going to completely redo it, but we want to redo it. Let us know if y'all want to see that.
Yeah, we might have to do a live with that and redo it live.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. Once? Didn't we do it first try?
I don't remember. I've drank a lot since then.
I'm pretty sure we got the main formation done in one try. After that, it was figuring out the back to be able to get the best flow and depth in the tank that we could. Until, obviously, the Slimer just said, screw you, I'm going to take off. And then, obviously, we put some Montipora in some places we shouldn't have. And they're taking off, but they're beautiful. They look great. So, I'm looking forward to ripping out from here all the way over to your side, out of the tank completely. All right, so we've got this huge water contain system here at the shop that we use to make water. Do you have anything like that at home? For like making RO water and distilled water and fish tank water and whatnot?
Oh, yeah, I've got an RO system.
Explain that to your friends. Why do you have two 50-gallon containers sitting in your garage? Why are you always looking for your brother to borrow tools because your shit's rusted?
Yeah, that's a hard one. People don't understand that at all.
It's terrible. I hate it.
But it's a necessity. Not only that, but why can't you drink it?
Oh, because it's DI water. DI is completely stripped, meaning it has no minerals, no elements, nothing in it. So it actually will go into your water and it will strip your body and dehydrate you even more than you currently dehydrated.
But it's just water.
No, it's not. This is pure, sterile. I mean, this is close. This is as close as you could get to natural, pure water.
Tagline H2O.
Podcast. So, like, you come to my house, I've got my 2 containers, and then I've got a table out there which has got all of my testing stuff on it.
Yep.
And it's got TDS meters, salinity meters, hydrometers, all these different types of testing things where I've got to make sure my water is perfect that's going into the tank. That way I know when I'm doing all that testing we were talking about earlier, that I'm putting good quality stuff in so I know what I've got to adjust moving forward. So do you spend time actually testing your source water? Like, do you test your freshly made salt water, or do you trust what the box says?
When I first changed salts, I tested every batch consistently, but after 8 or 9 different bats being identical, because thankfully the salt I use comes with an ICP test per batch, and it's batch labeled. So I know it's good. After the first, I'll say 10, holy crap, he is fat.
The damsel?
No, my freaking lawnmower blenny, or starry blenny. Bottom right. Hold on. Sorry, ADHD. Look how fat that starry blenny is.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Sorry, I call that ADOF. Attention deficit. Ooh,
Squirrel.
fish.
Oh, fish?
Anyways, after about 10 tests of my freshly made salt water matching the ICPs that's given to me in the boxes, I quit testing it. Now I do it about once a month just to verify, but it hasn't steered me wrong.
Gotcha. Do you try to match your salt to exactly what your tank is, or do you let your tank dictate what salt you're buying?
Ironically, I do salt higher than what my tank sits at because I use it to replenish on top of my dosing.
Okay. So you kind of do it like I do. Keep my tank around 8.0, and I use an 8.5 or a 9.0 salt to help replenish a little bit when I'm doing that dose, and because you know they're going to be like, "Ooh, we got all new water," and they're going to consume a little bit more, so it doesn't do a big swing in your dosing.
And at the end of the day, because I do consistently dose, the water changes I'm not necessarily looking alkalinity, magnesium, stuff like that. I'm looking more for the trace elements, the potassiums, the iodines, the things that I can't easily dose to just replenish those.
Gotcha. The ones that you shouldn't be dosing unless you're doing ICP testing.
Yep.
Or barely following the directions on a bottle. And I say it like that because if you overdose your trace elements, as we learned in this tank, potassium got too high because we were using potassium nitrate to help increase the nitrate levels in here. We increased the potassium level too high, and all of our reds that you see right here, they were brown. Yep. We came in one morning and all the red zooxanthellae was gone.
And it is not easy to hand test potassium.
No, there's only a few kits out there, and they're ridiculous to test.
Yeah.
Definitely an important element to know your numbers, but as long as you're doing religious water changes and keeping up with them and doing a good balling method or a good 2-part, you should relatively be all right.
Speaking of which, water changes, why do you do it?
I do it for consistency of my tank. I don't do it for nutrient reduction because I don't have issues with nutrients. I don't do it because I got algae. I literally do it as part of my dosing regimen, because if I do a 25% water change every 2 weeks, I know I'm taking X out. I know I'm taking X alkalinity out, X calcium out, but I'm also taking X diluted trace elements out and putting strong amounts of trace elements back in with that dose, with that water change.
But at the end of the day, how much of that actually lives in the water column versus gets absorbed in through the rocks?
So your macro and micro trace elements are mainly in the water column. They're actually in the salt in the water column. So same as your calcium and your alkalinity. Your phosphate and nitrates, they're in the water column, but what causes them is in your rock and your substrates and stuff like that, because that's where your anaerobic and your aerobic bacteria break down those elements and create your nitrates and your phosphates. Phosphate also binds up into your rock, so you've got to worry about where that's coming from if you're having a phosphate issue that you're trying to fight.
So in nitrates and phosphates, is it worth doing a water change if you're fighting that?
So this is where it comes down
It's
to
the age-old debate.
It truly is an age-old debate. Me personally, if you have nitrate issues and you have phosphate issues, you need to do a water change, because you're taking out 50 parts per million, you're putting back in 0.1. So over just a water change, you're going to have an immediate dilution. That's the only reason I would recommend it. If you have someone who overfed because you had someone babysit your tank while you were gone and they go and dump a whole bunch in.
Or you have kids.
I was trying to be nice. I'm trying to be a dad here. You go in, siphon up all that extra food. Absolutely. The other thing is if you're having nitrate issues or phosphate issues, we'd recommend you siphon your sand. But
I was about to go into that.
I had a feeling you were. So go ahead and ask your question.
So are you a siphon sand or no siphon sand guy?
So this is where it depends.
And break it down, because I wanted to backtrack it to where you said your anaerobic and aerobic bacteria lives in your substrate and your sand. So I want to break it down. I don't want you to go full chemist on me, but bring it a little bit.
All right. So if I have a nitrate issue, I want to siphon my sand, because most of the time what's happened is I've had detritus or whatnot build up in that sand. That becomes an aerobic, and I don't want to be too technical because I'm still a little fuzzy on it myself, but I pretty well know it. It becomes an aerobic type of bacteria that builds up in there, and it doesn't come out. There's nothing to finally break it down past nitrate. It sits there. So you have to manually remove it, and that would be removing the detritus that's in the sand. Doing it out of the water column, yes, you're just dropping a little bit. You're just doing that standard dilution. But if you're taking it out of the sand, that's where that detritus is breaking down and technically rotting. And that's what's causing that nitrate issues. That causes that to be a higher dilution rate. Now, when it comes to siphoning and not siphoning.
Hold on that. I want to talk about a little bit, and I'll break it down to the very base because I'm not scientifically smart at all. But this is a full ecosystem, and it wants to be balanced.
Yes.
So when you do water changes and you have, I'll just say, phosphate bound up in your rocks, when you pull out the phosphate that is in the water column, which is little,
Yep.
And you put in fresh, now that water has no phosphate in it, your rock is going to leach it. It's just going to...
Yes. Yes. So that goes back to us talking about the RODI water earlier and drinking the RODI. You put something in that's pure. When you have something pure and you have something dirty, we're going to use that example, they want to mate together to be semi-dirty.
Yes.
I couldn't come up with a good word for that. But it wants to bind together to make it equal. So you're going to pull some from here and you're going to pull some from here to make them the same. It's the same thing that happens with your rock. And that's why a lot of people use like a lithium chloride phosphate remover to go in to break up what's bound inside this rock.
Right.
And that will release it into the water column, and then it will flocculate to it and then get pulled out by your skimmer. Now, once you get it ripped out of your rock, a lot of people will then switch to like an aluminum metal like Purigen or Seachem's Phosguard and run that in a canister or in their sump, because that will prevent this water column from getting saturated again.
Right.
So what binds up in a rock is when this gets saturated, it binds to that free calcium and magnesium particle in the or ion in the rock and creates calcium diphosphate.
Right.
So you got to keep this stripped, but you got to strip this first. If this is empty and this is high, that's hair algae.
Yep.
If you've got green water algae, that's because this is high and this is low. So they just haven't bound and equalized out yet.
And that's why I'm a fan of never running like the phosphate mats or the nitrate mats in your sump 24/7, because you're constantly stripping the water column, but you're never affecting the substrate or the rock compounds.
Correct. So if you were going to run those, I would recommend getting the levels down to where you want them. And then you can run those to, oh crap, I overfed my tank, or oh crap, this happened.
Exactly.
That's going to help prevent a spike.
Right.
When it comes to siphoning and non-siphoning, the biggest thing I want to say here on this topic is if you siphon your sand regularly, siphon your sand all the time.
Yes.
If you don't siphon your sand regularly, do not touch your sand if your tank's more than a month old. And the reason for that is you'll build up ammonia pockets, sulfur pockets, and things like that inside your sand bed that if you go through and you open them up, it will destroy it. You will get a huge ammonia spike. It will rip out all the oxygen out of the water, and it will kill everything in your tank, as we learned with bugs and Lola.
Yep. And sulfur.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one because there's really no way to test for sulfur without ICP. And by the time you send out an ICP, it's too late.
If you end up hitting a sulfur pocket, your tank's dead. So me personally, when I do my tanks, I siphon what's available every time I do a water change. If I'm having high nitrate issues or high phosphate issues, so this tank here's got 4 caves, I will take and I will do a 10% today, and I will siphon inside that cave alone. That will be the entire 10% I do. 3 days from now, I'll do 10% inside this cave. I'll take the siphon hose and reach back in there and siphon that entire area. Never pull the siphon hose completely out. That way I make sure I'm getting all that sulfate or sulfide or anything that's built up in there, so it's not getting dispersed out throughout the entire tank. Mm-hmm. So that's the easiest way to get rid of those numbers, get them down the quickest, is by doing some deep cleanings and water changes.
Speaking of which, I just want to shout out Bobby Miller real quick.
Yes.
He saved our butts one day.
Yes.
That's kind of when I started doing most of my research on sulfur. I was not familiar with it much. I had an issue with my ray tank, and I had a flamingo. He was about that thick.
Yep.
And every bit of 14 inches. It looked like he had been harpooned.
Yep.
I sent pictures to Bobby, and he got back to me very quickly, was able to diagnose it, gave me a bunch of information to read up on the sulfur, and saved the flamingo.
Yeah, he saved the flamingo. He saved quite a few fish in that tank by telling us what to do.
And it gave us a lot of insight on sulfur, and it caused me to do a lot of research. So shout out to Bobby on that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Humblefish. Y'all can find him at humblefishreef.com, I think it is. Yeah, or humblefish.com, one of the two.
He's always got some good information.
Yeah,
so,
we need to get him as a guest on here. He'd be a fun one.
Yes, he would.
I think we get him in the store because he's local to us.
Yep. And he's a good friend. He's a good guy.
Yeah, very good friend of ours. We can set him up in front of the Stingray tanks and do that one there.
But going back to the siphoning tank, you and I differ a little bit on that. I am a turkey-based everything situation.
So I turkey-based all my rock every time.
Well, I turkey-base my rock, but I also turkey-base my caves. I like to stir up all my sand every time I'm in the tank.
Got you.
Well, anytime I do a water change. Just because, honestly, that sulfur incident scared the hell out of me.
If I can get to it, I siphon it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get to it easily, I siphon it. The only times I actually dig in is when I'm having issues and I'm trying to get those back crevices. I turn it sideways and I really try to get into it.
But that's also where, like, the tiger tails come in great.
Yes.
Your sand sifting stars, Nacerius, horseshoe crabs.
Definitely recommend all those guys. They do a great job at eating the detritus and everything.
But it's also one of those where you need it early in the tank. It's not something you add later, because at the end of the day, that star can find that sulfur pocket. If it exists, he will find it.
Yep.
And then you've got 10 dead fish and you don't know why.
Yep. I would definitely recommend, that's kind of the rule of thumb. I tell everybody, whatever size tank it is, if it's a 50-gallon, it's $5 worth of cleanup crew you come in. If it's a 100-gallon, it's $10 worth of cleanup crew every time you come into a fish store or go visit your local store. Yeah, and I tell people, a lot of people ask the question, is my cleanup crew enough to keep up with my sand? That depends on you. What's your nitrates look like? What's your phosphates look like? Is there anything rotting in there that your filtration system can't keep up with? I mean, the whole goal behind these things is to create an ecosystem that 100% takes care of itself with, excuse me, with the help of man-made filtration system.
Right.
I mean, all we're doing is creating natural flow. That's the whole intent of this. And we are trying to physically remove the crap that we put in.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. So if you can make it its own ecosystem and the cleanup crew is enough to keep up with your nitrates and phosphates, put 600 fish and 8,000 cleanup crew to take care of it. If you can make it work, by all means, do it, please.
And if you have that much money, considering sponsoring us at the H2O podcast. So with all that talking of dosing and all that nonsense, I think it's safe to say we really need an episode on dosing.
Yeah, there's a lot we could do about dosing. There's so many different ways we can talk about dosing. So
Right.
I think next week or 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, dosing. We'll do a deep dive into dosing, how to dose, what you're dosing.
More importantly, when to dose.
When to
because
dose.
that's the number one question I'm asked with Quantum, and I know you're asked that a lot in the store,
Yep.
is when do I start dosing? What's telling me to start dosing? Why do I need to start dosing? So I really think that'd be a very, very, very deep conversation. And with that, stay salty.
Stay opinionated.
And that's where we're gonna leave it. If you learned something, great. If you're mad about something, also great. Stay salty, stay opinionated. Follow us on Facebook at the H2O Podcast for more.